Hey y'all, it's Bear here, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, aboxwithnolid, a channel that I'm creating to not only just to bring awareness to the lived experience and the consequences and what living with complex trauma creates, but also to start to delve into ways of actually healing and improving the quality of your life. Now, in this video, I'm going to break with the two parts for a moment, just in response to some questions that I've been given, as well as, something that you all need to be aware of and the reasons why we try to heal. Now, what is healing from trauma? What is it really? Most people would assume that it's about learning to feel better. And that, yes, that is a huge part of it. But what healing from trauma really is working with the ecology that is you and the ecology that is your life to create a more productive base to build a life from. Now, in a lot of different circles, particularly in the alternative, the word manifestation gets passed around quite a lot and used quite a lot. What we want to manifest, what we want to create, what we want to manifest for ourselves and our life. How we manifest comes down to what the garden, what the ecology of who we are can produce, and how that can grow to create our manifestations in physical reality. Now, when you come from it from a trauma perspective, trauma creates a lot of restrictions. Like in the previous video, we have the inherited accountabilities and that ecology of limitations and restrictions. We also have, when we go through complex trauma, we also have the restriction of hypervigilance and hyper-awareness. We also have what hypervigilance creates, which is we create that 5x9 box, and our nervous system cannot cope with lots of inputs, lots of things going on. So we withdraw into this protective space, or we aggressively protect this protected space, which is another restriction. There's also, because of being in a heightened state the majority of our day, our cognitive structures are limited or shut down in freeze states especially, and we have difficulty learning. We have difficulty remembering and creating new memories around education and learning new skills from courses or books or from school. And all of these create an ecology that has limitations of what it can produce. It's like trying to expect a garden that is a 1x1 meter box to produce everything a family needs to eat, a family of 5 needs to eat. It's just, the restrictions, it's too much. So the whole process of healing revolves around expanding what your garden, your ecology can produce, what it can create for you. And all the feeling good and all that component comes through expanding what your ecology can produce. Because it will create the connections that we need. It will create the opportunities that we need. And that's, again, why the garden analogy is such a good way of looking at this. Now, how do we do this? We do this one day at a time, one little step at a time. By working with our nervous system so that we can cope a little better, by working with our interactions so we can connect a little better, by working with what drains our ecology so much, and starting to really look at the resources that we have and how we can use the resources that we have to produce more for us. What often is the case, I've done this and I know many other people do it, and I see it happen a lot, is when we start to produce more, Because trauma is a very lonely place. We tend to give what we produce to others in the hope that we can become part of. Let's all work together and let's create more for all of us. And it backfires. And that's something that I want you guys to be aware of. This is not about being selfish and keeping everything to yourself, and I'll get to why in a moment. But it's being aware of that when we start to produce more in our ecology, we need to use it to produce more in our ecology until we get a surplus. When we have a surplus, that's when we can share. But in the beginning, healing is a selfish place to be because we have to. We have to focus on all of our energies on ourselves for a little bit so that we can break through into a new way of doing things. And that's something people don't really grasp. And it's not being there for weeks and months and years. It's for, a few days at a time. Spending that time looking at what your garden is producing, what you are producing, and working on a way to use the resources that you have to produce a little more for yourself. And the primary reason for this is we need to get out of survival. We will never manifest everything we hope to for this wonderful life that we hope to live being in survival. It just, I'm not saying it's a completely impossible, but me personally, I've never seen it happen. So we need to get out of this survival state. And in the next playlist that I'll be producing in the coming weeks and months, I'm going to get into all these little things and ways to work with that. But I wanted you guys to start to see what it is you're actually trying to do when you heal. And that's the purpose of this video. We need to get out of survival. We need to get our ecology producing more to benefit us, to produce more, so that we have safe, so that we have enough resources to build a life, so that our anxiety is in a place where we can get work, where we can go out and create a business or float an idea or do something. For me, it was getting my anxiety to a place where I can do these videos as a stepping stone to me coming back into this world from when I crashed nearly 15 years ago. This is the thing of, it's working on these ecologies to produce more. And at some point, they will produce a surplus. And through that surplus, we can give to others and share with others. But in the beginning, we need to use the resources to help ourselves. Now, as always, this can be taken out of context and people can use this to become, and particularly in some areas of traumatic experiences, to become narcissists, to become those that they use their trauma to harm others. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what I mean by being selfish, it's when somebody asks something of you that, you have that ability, but you don't really have, your nervous system is pretty much on edge. You haven't slept properly for days. You don't have a lot of resources within your body left. So you say, no, sorry, I'm not up to it today. Maybe next time. That's what I mean by being selfish. It's going, I know you would love for me to do that for you, but I'm just not there right now. I need to have some me time. I need to recoup. I need to get my anxiety levels down a little bit more so I can sleep. I need to get my diet, the food intake back on track. I need to, whatever it is you're trying to do, to get a little bit more resources, to get a little bit more energy and a little bit more, oomph or base to take the next few steps from. That's what I mean by being selfish. So what is healing? Healing from trauma is simply creating the ecology that is you in a way that will manifest everything you hope for on the path to belonging and truly being part of. That is healing trauma. As every person's traumatic experiences create a unique set of processes within that person, as I've gone through it in several videos. We need to take these moments in looking at what our ecology produces to understand which pieces of the puzzle are going to benefit us. What are parts of what I say and what others say and the books you read and the things you hear and see are going to benefit you and your healing, so that you can create and manifest a life that you truly hope to live. So take a moment and ask yourself the question, what does my garden, what do I produce for me and my life? It's not just food, shelter, clothing, and safety, but it is part of it, is food, shelter, clothing, and safety. But it's also learning experiences, emotional growth, emotional connections, and everything. So what does your ecology produce? And how can you work with that ecology in little steps for it to produce everything you need to manifest the life you wish and hope to live? So as always, please be kind and gentle. As I love your questions, and I will always do my best to answer them. So please be kind and gentle, and I'll see you next time.